Aisha Shelton.
And this is Kevin Shelton.
Welcome back to Marriage and Real Estate.
Welcome back.
Hey.
So what are we talking about this week?
We are going to be discussing duplexes.
Yay, the duplex debate.
The duplex debate. Everybody wants a duplex.
Everybody definitely wants a duplex.
What are you going to do with it? How is it going to make you money?
I'm not going to build them.
Do you need it? So duplexes are super sexy these days, especially in our market. Mm-hmm. Lots of my clients for sure are interested in them. And for those builders that are building duplexes, they are not having a hard time selling them.
Nope, not at all.
At all. And so from a builder's perspective, one who particularly is not going to build another duplex.
I'm not going to not build another one. I'm just not going to build any more anytime soon or spec. I'll build them for clients. If you come to me to build our duplex plan on your lot, we can do that. But I'm not going to go invest my money to buy land and build a duplex.
That's what I should do for my client. I should tell her we could build her one.
Like she buy the land and go through our construction loan process. Yeah, actually, that would work out really well. Yeah, we should do that.
Really well. Okay.
And then she has the time.
And she has the time.
That makes sense. And you can send her through the sales process. Yeah, that works.
Okay, end the episode.
Yeah, we just solved that problem.
I just solved my duplex problem. No, but truly, what are some of the challenges that that you face as a builder? And I guess I can talk about the challenges that I face as a real estate agent.
So as a builder, the biggest thing is a duplex is still two homes, just like building two houses separately. So the problem is you don't get as much bang for your buck on the sale side as you would if you just built two houses, because it takes just as much energy and effort. So one of the things that we're seeing in our market is land price costs so much that the space that a duplex needs and all the extra things they send you through to build them, you might as well just build two houses and make double the money than like 1.5 the money that you would make.
Yeah, so with the duplex that we built, right? The rationale that he gave me was like, I still need double of everything, right? So I might as well sell two houses at $300,000 instead of one duplex at $330,000.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense because I'm doing the same thing.
So even though Kevin's the duplex that Park Street built was very popular and everybody wanted to know when's the next one. We want this one. I was very hard pressed to get him to do it again. However, there are some builders who, and we're talking about new construction duplexes, there are some builders who that's their niche. That's what they do.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
And I think they have a great business. It's a great niche to get into because you have that kind of pent up demand. Right. You have people looking. I mean, we know builders with waiting lists, 10, 15 people long for duplexes. I think our particular obstacles come from the fact that we have single family home products to sell. And we built a brand of more single family housing than duplexes. So the duplex builders that do build them, it's kind of rinse and repeat, right? It's like, I'm going to build the same plan over and over again because I know I have an investor buyer ready that wants to, live in one side and rent out the other or rent out both sides. For us, because we have Park Street as more of a kind of retail facing brand, it's more profitable for us to just build our regular houses that sell just fine.
Yeah. And duplexes really are a good entry level into your real estate investing journey.
1,000%.
It's like it's a great investment. So clearly everybody wants it. It's super sexy these days because it's all everybody is talking about on social media. Buy the block, build a duplex. And so it really is a great investment to secure. Couple of my clients have Airbnbs on both sides of their duplexes. I have some that have a long-term tenant in one and then the Airbnb in the other, and they're all doing very, very well. Yep. And so maybe, just maybe, I can convince Kevin to build, 5 more.
No, I'd have to buy some really cheap land.
And
then I'd have to find really cheap land in a market area that I can't just build a regular house, because that's another benefit, right? You could build a duplex in places that otherwise wouldn't be gentrifying at the same time, right? So you think about like City Gas and the duplex that you had a client interested in. City Gas, there aren't that many, regular homes being built. There's no schools, there's no grocery, but there are investors who are looking for rental properties to live and, rent out one side. So it really just depends on your market area and who you serve and what your avatar of your buyer is to see if a duplex makes sense. So, if we bought a large swath of land where otherwise we couldn't build nothing else, I'd build a bunch of duplexes because couldn't build nothing else.
Well, maybe I should have the team look into finding some land for that because the demand is there, right?
Sure.
So some of the challenge that I'm running into with my clients by way of duplexes is financing, right? So you definitely want to make sure you have the most optimal financing. Cash is always key,
Yep.
but conventional and then FHA, because what's happening with these duplex buyers is that they're getting multiple offers.
Yep.
And the offers that they're getting are either cash because people have, investors have a lot of cash to sink into them, or conventional because there's less obstacles for the seller to have to overcome.
Yep.
So that's one thing that you want to be aware of, is that you want to make sure that you have your financing right. So if you have an FHA loan, not that you could not get a duplex. I've gotten clients duplexes with FHA loans. It's just you're not as competitive if somebody that has cash and or a conventional loan. So that's one. The other thing is, like Kevin said, they're building duplexes in areas that there isn't much around them, right? And so be ready to waive the appraisal, because you are not going to the bank is not going to look at this duplex and do its comparables. So it's going to do its comparables in the area and say, well, this is about this amount. Well, the seller is going to list it much higher than that because they understand that there's a demand. The bank doesn't care about the demand. They care most about, are there comparables that support this price to protect their capital. And so that's kind of the conversations that I'm having with my clients now is, okay, we need to go in strong. That's one.
Yep.
And we need to have the cash prepared to say that we are going to waive the appraisal. So we're going to make a strong offer, and we're also going to say if it doesn't appraise, we're going to make up the difference. That's a big commitment to make.
Oh yeah, I mean, you talk about the tune of $20,000 to $40,000, $50,000.
Yep.
Folks are coming out of the table, with cash for a duplex in God knows where, BF Egypt. So it's like
BF. Bumfuck.
I was trying not to curse on the fuck. You just put that together like
I was like, wait, that's what that is. Okay, yes.
But no, so at the end of the day, you do have to be comfortable shoveling out this cash, knowing that it's 100% on you to lease it up, right? So you might be in, BF Egypt, finding a tenant there or Airbnb-ing it, that's on you, right?
Yeah.
Having a duplex is great, but you also need to rent a duplex, operate a duplex, cash flow a duplex. And a lot of times the demand is higher than even the rent rates are, or, what you can get in the back end as far as cash flow. So look at your numbers, look at the area, work with an experienced realtor who can tell you, hey, this makes sense or this doesn't. Because you can buy, $600,000 duplex in the middle of this ocean, but can you rent it?
Yeah. And I mean, do all of your due diligence. And if you're interested in real estate or entrepreneurship in general, like do your due diligence, know what your numbers are for sure.
Yep.
And I mean, also, it's not as easy as it sounds, because I can't imagine another person walking up to me talking about they want a duplex. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Now let's get down to the numbers. Let's get down to, will it cash flow? And can you give some examples of how you run numbers on duplexes? Kevin does it for all my clients. It may look like it's me, but Kevin runs the numbers, and I come back and give them to you.
So you want to look at what your cash on cash return is. That's the amount of money that you're putting down, right? Versus the amount of money you're getting back as far as your rent rate. So when I look at a duplex deal, I'm saying, okay, well, if I am going to put $60,000 cash, right, what's the cash flow that I'm getting in over my mortgage amount? So if my mortgage is $1,500, am I renting this duplex out for $2,100? Am I renting this duplex out for $2,500? Or if I'm renting it out for, $1,300 per side, and I'm living on one side, now I'm still paying $200 a month in mortgage, the numbers don't jive as much. So a duplex is just an investment. And while living on one side gives you the benefit of not paying rent, it also can reduce your cash flow. So you want to look at those scenarios back and forth, right? What you're paying if you're going to live there, or what you'll make if you're going to live there, what you'll make if you're renting out both sides, how much money it's costing you up front, what your rent rates potentially could be, which, you know, your realtor will pull comps for and see, hey, duplexes in this area or units this size are renting for this much. And you got to make sure you're comfortable with the numbers to know that it's a good deal. You know, the saying in real estate is you buy real estate and you wait. A lot of times in some of these gentrifying areas that can be true. Some other areas are very, very hot. So if you're in East Downtown, you might be getting a, you know, $1.50 a foot in rent rates. In Houston, to give context, Houston's rent rate is historically about $1 a foot, right? So if you're getting $1.50 a foot, you're doing real, real good.
Right.
That's really prime to the area. You might have some areas that are a little bit farther out that you might be getting 90 cents a foot. You might be getting 80 cents a foot. So it's got to be a real cheap duplex to make it make sense for you. So, you know, it's super hot and it's super sexy, but numbers are numbers. And you always say lead by the numbers. I think that you've drummed that in my head over the years, because when the numbers stop working,
you need to stop.
You need to stop.
When the numbers stop working, you need to stop.
You need to stop working. When the numbers stop working, you need to stop.
Even when it comes to a duplex, right? When the numbers stop working, you need to stop. And running those numbers on each scenario and aspect. And we do that for our clients too, right? Like we'll run the numbers. Okay, if you Airbnb it, then you can probably average about this much, as opposed to a long-term tenant. And how do we make it make sense? Yep. But we do try to come up with different scenarios to make it make sense, right? Before we say, nah, this doesn't work. And we also protect the downside, because one of the things that people do is give you glossy numbers, right? So they'll say, oh yeah, Airbnb, you can make $3,000 a month. And your traditional rent rate might not make you no money a month. It might cost you money every month. So you need to look at it both ways and be comfortable, because what if you don't get guests for that first year? What if you don't, what if COVID hits and you stuck with this mortgage? So you got to be comfortable being able to pay that or cover those bills until you get up. Yeah. Also, everybody's situation is different, right? So I can have one duplex, 2 different clients, and it works for one and it doesn't work for the other person, right? So the one thing that I really want to drive home is that, like, duplex is not the solution to all of your investing troubles, right? Like, oh, I want to get into investing, so I need a duplex. Like, no, there's a lot more evaluation that goes into that, and what works for you may be totally different from your homeboy or your homegirl when it comes to purchasing a duplex. So it's funny, not to cut you off, but I was going to mention your last client that wanted a duplex came and was one of the potential buyers on our duplex, and we ended up putting them in a single family home. Well, their situation was different. They had a paid off house that they could then get all this cash flow from, refinance, and end up with 3 houses versus just 2 units on a duplex for the same amount of money, right? Yeah. So you got to look at your individual situation to say, duplex is really sexy, but is a duplex the best investment strategy for me in my situation? Yeah. Yeah, because you could end up spending all your money on a duplex and just have those 2 units. And now you're missing out on all this other opportunity to buy all kind of other real estate, whether it be, 4 units or, a piece of land. I mean, investing in something that can give you a higher return. It really depends on what your end goals are and what your particular situation is now. Because just duplex is a buzzword, but investing in real estate is investing in real estate, whether it's a duplex or a single family or whatever. We've owned duplexes, we've owned triplexes. We had a 5-unit once, but it really is just real estate. You're just investing in real estate. It's how you get there that matters. So. Yep. So with the last couple of minutes, and I'll try to make this the last couple of minutes. So long-term tenant versus Airbnb in your duplex. So long-term tenants is always, it's mailbox money, right? It's easier money. The cash flow numbers are much smaller, but you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to turn it over. You don't have to get cleaners. They're not going to tear up your stuff in the same rate. Sometimes. It just depends. But I'd always say in the short term, depending on your area and what the status of your property is, whether it's existing or new construction,
Airbnb could definitely work. It could really increase your cash flow, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right. We advised a couple close to us that just bought a duplex, and we were like, hey, look, you can make a bunch of money, but here's what it's going to cost you up front. Here's what it's going to take from the work side, and you can make the numbers work. And it took them a while, right? Like it cost them a lot of money to the tune of $20,000, $30,000 to get it all furnished up and get it ready to go. But now they're making money and they're rolling.
Yep.
So it took an extra 6 months, but now they're really seeing that return on investment. It's still a lot of work though.
It is.
So every time we see them now, they're like, oh man, I'm exhausted and I was cleaning the unit, or, you know, this guest had a raging party or whatever. And they live next door, right? Imagine if it was down the road. So everything has an opportunity cost. Airbnb gives you more money, but it also has an opportunity cost. Long-term tenant is much easier to deal with because you can vet the tenant and whatever, but you don't make so much money.
Yeah, I call it little risk, little reward, high risk, high reward, and that's exactly what you'll find in your Airbnb for your investment property. It's a lot more work. It's a lot more taxing, but you have the potential to make more money than if you just put somebody next door, you know, in that other unit, and it requires less service and less maintenance as well. And so I would definitely weigh what you want your life to look like as well, right? So will you be able to go out of town for an extended period of time if you're the person who's turning over your Airbnb unit, or if you're the person who's responsible for responding to people in a timely manner when they need stuff? So if you're managing your own Airbnb, what does that look like? Or you're the turn person. I mean, literally, it takes time to clean. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I know I didn't sign up to change sheets on bed and mop floors and clean dirty ass tubs.
I remember a couple of times you had to turn our units. You were the worst.
Not interested.
You were like, hold on, we do this every 2 days? You were like, this is some bullshit.
Oh my God, the trash. Like who's gonna take out the trash? There's so much trash when people check out at Airbnbs. It's just and you have to dump it. So am I expected to put that in my car? Are you gonna put it in your car? You know, the beer bottles, the cans, okay, so that's a lot of work. However, you get a nice check from Airbnb every time it turns. You get your little deposit in your bank account and you look at your numbers and it's amazing.
So you're definitely a systems person.
That is true.
You don't want to. You're not gonna get down and dirty and do that. As a person who cleaned a bunch of units, did a bunch of stuff. I mean, it's another job, right? It just adds to it. But are there easier ways to go about it? Sure. I think that, you know, it's a great way to learn. It's a great way to learn about how not only real estate flows, but also how the hospitality industry flows. I managed a hotel for several years, so I kind of got a good taste of that. And a lot of people who manage Airbnbs realize it's a hotel, right? People gonna treat your house like a hotel. They're gonna do what they do in hotels in your house. And you have the same burden of cleanliness, same responsibility, make sure everything works, everything's functional. If the doorknob fall off, you got to fix it. If the plumbing handle falls off, you got to fix it, and you got to fix it before that next guest gets there. So it gives you a great appreciation for everything that goes into maintaining a property. And for those who are just starting out, it's a great kind of trial by fire.
Yeah, I would say know thyself. And if none of that sound like anything you'd be interested in doing,
if you sound like Aisha,
steer clear of Airbnb and get you a long-term tenant that you never have to talk to, and just get your checks deposited into your account.
Because you like that too. Because you don't even look. I got to drive by properties. You don't even want to see them.
If you want that money and you want it fast and you want a lot of it, then definitely Airbnb the other side of that duplex for sure.
Well, if that's your wrap up, I didn't interrupt this time.
You didn't.
Look at that.
Okay,
I'm getting better.
I am so proud of you. You know, progress.
It's a journey.
It's not quite the wrap up, but thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Well, when the wrap up happens, I won't interrupt you.
He'll be quiet.
So to end the duplex debate, duplexes are super hot and they're a buzzword, but you got to find the fit for you, right? That just depends on your situation, whether it's your financing or your cash, or whether you want to do long-term tenants or Airbnbs. All those options are on the table, and you just got to pick the right thing for you. So work with your team, whether that's a realtor or a builder, advisor, folks to help you make the right decision for you. And when you're ready, take the next steps. Don't leave it without taking action, because this market ain't getting no cooler. And you need to definitely jump on it.
Agreed.
So this is the Marriage and Real Estate Podcast. This is Kevin.
This is Aisha.
And we out.